Hello and welcome to Current Affairs on JTV. I was recently at the AIPAC conference in Washington, D.C., which is the largest gathering of pro-Israel supporters in the world. Here's a few of the characters I caught up with during the conference. Joel, you've obviously spent a long time analysing anti-Semitism in Belgium, and of course we can bring France into the equation as well. Could you explain to our viewers what is the current situation facing Jews in those countries?
Well, since 15 years, since the outbreak of the Second Intifada, there is a serious rise of anti-Semitism, which is the contemporary anti-Semitism, which has another name, anti-Zionism. And we are facing a situation where today in France or in Belgium, it's difficult for a Jew wearing a kippah walking in the street. Even the chief rabbi of both countries asked to Jews wearing a kippah to hide it. So it's quite a serious situation. And more serious is the fact that in Belgium or in France, those last year, Jews were killed because they were Jews. It happened in 2012 in Toulouse with the terrorist attack against the Jewish school. Then 2 years later in the Jewish Museum of Brussels. Then in 2015 in Paris against the Jewish supermarket, the kosher supermarket. So that's the most serious incident. But besides that, the incident which are not making the headlines, we see an explosion really of anti-Semitic incident. In Belgium, for instance, before 2000, there was no statistic because we could count the anti-Semitic incident, annual anti-Semitic incident on the fingers on one hand. Today it has three figures, three numbers each year. So it's very serious. And the consequences of this is that Jews are starting to leave their country, from Belgium, from France and other European countries, to go to places where they feel more secure, to Israel, to US, to Canada. So it's a very serious situation, and we should see the global picture. I think that it's not only about Jews, it's about the very basics of our democracy. What is at stake, it's not only the fate of European Jewry, it's the fate of European democracies. We could see the Jews as the canary in a coal mine, and if we don't understand this signal, we will have to face a very more serious trouble, as we experienced in November 2015 in Paris, when 130 people, innocent people, having a drink, going to a concert, were killed by those terrorists, jihadist terrorists. It started with Mohamed Merah in 2012, focusing on Jews and on the French army. Then in 2014, focusing on Jews in Brussels. Then in early 2015, focusing on Jews and journalists. But today it's spread to everyone. Today, let's say that everything is a Jew today in Europe, meaning everything is a target.
And in fact, you've of course seen the signs Je suis juif, which goes out there. Do you think that gives some confidence that wider society is waking up to the nature of the problem?
Well, I think it's too little too late. So I would like to be confident, but I need to be honest to the viewers. I think it's too little too late, and I think that Europe is waking up today, but it could be on the wrong way. Meaning that we see a surge of populist and far-right party in all Europe, of people who are desperate, and they think that the far-right party can solve the problem. But they have to keep in mind that you don't cure the plague, which is Islamism and terrorism, with cholera, which is far-right, because you die of both. So I think if Europe will wake up, it will be on the wrong way with non-democratic measures, which is not a solution either.
Now, you mentioned a second ago the problem in your view was Islamism, how that of course worked, and what really has been responsible then for this rise? Are you suggesting therefore it's to do with immigration into Europe, that's changed the balance of how Jews are perceived?
Yeah, it definitely it has an interconnection, but not only. There is also, we have to put a finger on some political parties, mainly from the left and the far left. Speaking about UK, the president of the Board of Deputies, last week he said in mainstream media, I think it was I don't remember actually which media, but he said we cannot trust the left anymore because of the leader of the Labour Party, who is feeling close to Hamas and to Hezbollah and even to old anti-Semite guys. So I think also some political party on the left-wing are responsible on this. But the situation is not black and white, because look in France, for instance, there is a socialist party leading the country, and it's today the country under the leadership of President Hollande and mainly of Prime Minister Manuel Valls, who is the most sincere and dedicated and committed to fighting anti-Semitism. So the situation is not black and white, but globally I think it's too late. The movement of exodus of Jews has started. Young Jews are leaving when they are 18 years old, studying abroad. They don't come back, and then their parents are following them because they want to remain close to them. So I'm not really confident for the future of Europe. I think that the next generation will face an even more difficult time that we are facing today.
Okay, so Joël, you've obviously been well established in Belgium. You've lived your whole life there. This must come as a bit of a shock to you.
Of course. You know, it talks to me to my personal history. My father was born in 1928 in Austria. Then after the Anschluss and the Kristallnacht in 1938, he has to flee his country. And in 1939, he fled Austria to find refuge in Belgium. The father of my father was born in Poland. And after some anti-Semitic discrimination, he left his country to find refuge in Austria. The grandfather of my father was born in Russia, and after a pogrom, he left Russia to find refuge in Poland. Personally, until a few years ago, I thought a bit candidly and also maybe kind of arrogant that I will be the first Rubinfeld to born in a country, to live in this country, and to die a natural causes in this country. So my country, Belgium. And since a few years, I think that unfortunately, I will have to follow the path of my ancestor. It's a failure, it's a personal failure, definitely, but I think it's also a failure for Europe. Remember that Europe was built, it's a fantastic project, the European family. It was built on one promise. After the Holocaust, after World War II, it was built on a promise, never again. Today we see again that in Europe, Jews are killed because they are Jews, and also that you have some political party from the far left, from the far right, who are putting a flame on the fire. So it's a failure for me, a personal failure, but mainly it's a failure for the European project.
Okay, my last question. You've mentioned suggesting it might be too late. What's the counter-argument? What is there to suggest that actually it might not be too late, there can still be a viable Jewish life on the continent?
Well, just for the political party, for the democratic political party to face their responsibility, to apply a zero-tolerance policy. That's all. You know, in New York, 25 years ago, it was a very dangerous city, one of the most dangerous cities in the US. Then came a mayor Giuliani, who said, okay, we will implement the zero-tolerance policy. No crime will be unpunished. And so it totally changed the life in New York. And today you can walk in New York in midnight, relax, you will not be attacked. It really became a safe city. We need to transpose this model of the zero-tolerance policy to Europe, meaning that, for instance, in Brussels, in my city, when there is a conflict in the Middle East, 3,000 kilometers away, the next day you have demonstration in the street, people shouting in Arabic, Eid Bachal Yahoud, meaning kill the Jews, or having banners supporting terrorist organization, and with some anti-Semitic messages. Those people, we have laws in Belgium, we have laws in France. Apply the law. It's very simple. Just apply the law. Put those people to the court. Let's send a very strong and simple message to the anti-Semites. You will have to face the law. And so that's not done today for some political calculation, for some demographic factors. I don't know what it's there in their hearts and minds, but they have to understand, and that's what I'm saying to politicians since 10 years when I'm meeting them. If you don't realize what's going on, if you don't do it for my kids, do it for your kids, because your kids will be the next target. The Jews are the first on the domino line, but when the Jews will fall, the others will follow. And so just apply the law.
Joël, it's been fabulous. Thank you. That's all we have time for. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again for another episode of Current Affairs on JTV.